This time on the Driver's Corner, we're going to go look at a couple old 911s at JP Frazier, and then we're going to talk through the back date on my 77. Stay tuned. So this video kind of started because a buddy of mine, Robbie, is out looking for a 911 just like I have, except he is really wanting a first generation, an early car. And so he's been shopping. He's flown to California to look at one, and then one popped up locally. It was a big project, and it was at a local dealer. So we decided to go out there and take a look at the ones they had on the showroom, as well as the one that he was ultimately trying to buy, which spoiler alert, he didn't end up with. It's on the way to Germany or something, so that's kind of sad. But really cool place and really cool people at JP Frazier here in Lebanon, Tennessee. And you guys are going to get to see a couple early 911s, as well as a beautiful 930 Turbo, and then the 69 Model T junker that he was kind of looking at for restoration. After that, we'll go back into my garage and I'll start talking about the back date and where I am and what parts I have ready to install. So let's go. So here we are at JP Frazier. A lot of cool cars at this dealership. Out front of the dealership, there were more MGs than I'd seen in the same spot in a very long time. This red car, as far as I know, is still for sale. It's in the mid 50s, I think 54.5. That silver Targa he just got in, I didn't hear a price that he was looking for on that. This was a deal. This is a 930 Turbo. I believe it's an 88, if I remember correctly. I think he might have a pending deal on this one. He was asking $88,900, which is a steal for a car in that kind of condition. Lots of really neat other vehicles there, like a 356 and a Speedster, and they were all original. These weren't replica cars. That car was pretty much immaculate. This silver one was obviously kind of a hot rod driver. This brown one is on Bring a Trailer right now, so you can see that one on Bring a Trailer. I don't think there's a reserve on that either. So just really honest cars, just ready to go out and be somebody's baby for sure. So really, really neat. In a couple minutes, he takes us to his house so we can see his personal collection. And while we're there, we took a look at a vehicle we couldn't film just because it was up on a lift and under a cover, and he couldn't start the car that was underneath it. So this is the 69 911T that ended up getting sold to somebody overseas and is going to be shipped there. But it was basically a rust-free start to a project. Pretty amazing. So the car didn't have any rust at all. It just needed restoration. The engine was locked up, and other than just needing all the bits and pieces, it was in really good shape. And then a couple seconds from now, I'll show you a 912 parts car that he still has for sale. It's really, really rusty, but he is selling that one for, I think, around $7,000 or $8,000 for this bucket right here. So really awesome day overall. Really great to meet some other cool Porsche people. So some things that I probably should have researched a little bit more before I dug into or committed to a backdate project is I didn't really know what it took to do that. I figured the chassis was, everybody says, oh, they're the same for, forever and ever and ever since the 60s up until they went water cooled. I thought, this can't be that hard just to swap parts out. There are a lot of things that I didn't know. And so I'm going to share what I've learned up to this point about backdating. So if you're thinking about backdating one of these cars or picking up a project like I did and then backdating it, I think you are going to want to know some of this information. The number one thing everybody knows is that, your front fenders aren't quite the same. Now you have a couple options. You can buy an aftermarket set of fiberglass fenders. They're about $1,000 a piece. And what that does is gives you that bracket that I was showing you. It gives you the bracket here for the turn signals to go into. So you can do that. They're $1,000 each. And so you'll have about $2,000 in getting those to fit. The other thing you're going to need is the hood. The long nose hood extends down further. I thought, hey, it's just a problem matching it up to the turn signal housing part, but I was also wrong about that. So on the short nose, like I have, the hood hinge and everything, if mine were still bolted in there, it is way further back than it would end up being on the long nose cars. So you have to make a choice. You can't just bolt on a long hood onto this car and expect it to latch. So you have to make a decision whether you're going to move the latch panel forward, or if you're going to forget about that altogether and just use hood pins or hood latches, I guess. So that's something else a lot of people probably don't know or think about unless they weren't stupid like me and did a lot more research. There's a company out there that sells a fiberglass hood that has an extension on it that uses your stock latch location. I'm considering that. I'm going to see if I can extend this hood down, and then I'm just going to use the basic like rubber and metal latches, like the race inspired RS style hood latches. So that's something. The other thing that's interesting that I didn't know, and again, I'm claiming my own ignorance here, is this bracket right here. Actually, a lot of this whole bracket area kind of has to come out in order for the turn signal housing to go into place. Also, I believe this does as well. It's kind of in the way to mount the other bumper. So all that comes out, and then my understanding is the old style bumpers mount directly to the fender. So that is kind of a thing. So just as I was test fitting the other day, when I was playing around with that turn signal bracket that came in, I kind of realized that all this has to leave. Now, I cut it back to here just to see if I could get the bracket on there and just see what it would look like. Not on, but in place. But I'm gonna remove all of this. So I have some work to do at the bottom of this panel anyway. So I'm gonna cut all this out, grind it down, make it look pretty. And I'm not as worried about this looking factory. This is obviously an outlaw build, but I definitely don't want to leave like a hacked off bracket in there. Another thing, so if you're planning on using the Backdate style rear bumper like I am, this is like a 2.7 RS style bumper. This piece right here, where the reflector panel goes on the 74 and up, this has to come out. So luckily mine was a little rusty anyway, so it was going to come out as it was. But what my plan of action is to cut it right here alongside this taillight lens. I'm going to cut it all across this top flange right here and out, and then that should give me, there's another panel behind here that will kind of remain, but that should give me the opportunity to mount that this bumper where this inset will actually set in there, and then this edge will go across the other side of the where I cut that panel out. So that's another thing that I didn't really, I know I should have thought about it because the other bumpers are inset, but I hadn't really thought about that until I started looking at it, and I realized that that's got to get done, as well as all this in the back here. There's a whole section right here. So this bracket here, oh man, this bracket here has to get cut out basically all the way down and around. You lose your tow hooks on both sides, so this may be a better one to look at. But basically that whole section there needs to be cut out in order to accommodate the bumper fitting properly. So that is next on my list of stuff to cut out when I get the car back. So once the car comes back from blasting, I will start cutting it up. So that's another one of those things that, depending on, kind of if you're squeamish or not, or if you're really planning on cutting your car up, if you have a nice one, I have zero guilt. Half the stuff that I'm cutting off of this one, I was going to have to do anyway, just because it was rusty. But if you have a clean one, you may really want to consider whether or not a Backdate is worth it to you or not. So yeah, just something to think about. So because I bought these prefab replacement sheet metal brackets, I'm not gonna have to recreate the wheel when I go to install these turn signals. So I'll just have to weld in that piece off of the, basically I'll just have to weld these in place. So, you know, obviously I'll take all the lights and stuff off, but I was just test fitting and seeing what it was like. But ultimately I think this is gonna make some of the fab work a little bit easier. So that's pretty cool. Oh yeah, my front pan is here. So I got the front pan, the front suspension pan piece. And what else? Oh yeah, and I can't remember what they call that. But anyway, that basically replaces that missing piece down at the bottom. So underneath that seat mount, interlongitudinal, I believe is what they call that. So cost-wise, all right. If you go like the big route, if you go to manufacturers and you buy all their parts, you're looking at probably $5,000 to buy all the stuff you need to do a backdate if you're going to do it the right way. If you're going to do it the kind of do it in your garage dirty way like I'm doing it, then you're probably looking at right around $2,000. That's if you buy a hood. So if you buy a hood, you're around $2,000. If you just buy little bits and pieces and parts here and there, when you find a good deal on something, then and you modify your own hood. So if you don't buy a hood and you just modify your own stuff, you can really do the swap for about $1,000. Okay, so what I ended up doing was negotiating with a bunch of sellers. So I found stuff online that I wanted. I negotiated some really good prices on the stuff, and I ended up like way under. I was under $1,000 with everything that I have right now, which is awesome. And then I just know that I have a few other things I have to pick up. So the hood is still a little bit of a mystery for me. I'm not 100% sure if I'm competent enough in metalwork to do that myself. You know, as far as extending that down with a compound curve, like getting that radius around the front correct. So I don't know if I have the skills to do that, but I am going to give it a shot and see what I can do. Again, thanks for tuning in. The next video, I'm going to have this thing sandblasted, and we're going to see what kind of damage is actually underneath all those millions of layers of paint. So stay tuned, like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Oh my gosh, yeah. Dude, that's like the dream right there.